What happens when a seasoned journalist refuses to play nice with a royal who's grown too comfortable with softball questions? You won't believe what unfolds when Prince Harry sits down with Savannah Guthrie, expecting another sympathetic platform, only to face one of the most brutal takedowns in television history. This isn't just another celebrity interview gone wrong, it's a masterclass in journalistic integrity that left viewers' jaws on the floor, and one very entitled royal scrambling for the exit. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because you're not going to believe how Savannah Guthrie dismantled Prince Harry's carefully crafted victim narrative in real time. The studio lights blazed as Prince Harry settled into the plush interview chair across from Guthrie, that familiar smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. He'd done this dance 100 times before. The sympathetic nods, gentle probing questions, careful steering away from anything uncomfortable. Tonight was supposed to be different, but not in the way Harry expected. Guthrie shuffled her notes with surgical precision, her expression unreadable as the countdown began. 3, 2, 1, and they were live to millions of viewers who had no idea they were about to witness television history. Prince Harry, thank you for joining us tonight, Guthrie began, her voice steady but carrying an edge that immediately put Harry on alert. I want to start with something that's been troubling a lot of people. You've built your entire post-royal brand on being the victim, haven't you? The question hit like a sledgehammer. Harry's media-trained smile faltered for a moment before he recovered, but Guthrie had already spotted the crack in his armor. I wouldn't characterize it that way, Savannah, Harry replied, his accent thickening slightly a tell when he was defensive. I've simply been sharing my truth, my experiences of growing up in an institution. That your truth, Guthrie interrupted, the phrase almost sounding obscene. Let's talk about truth for a moment. You've made millions, literally millions, from Netflix deals, book contracts, and speaking engagements, all based on trashing the family that raised you, protected you, and funded your privileged lifestyle for 30-plus years. At what point does sharing your truth become a calculated business strategy? The studio fell deadly silent. Even the camera operators seemed to hold their breath. This wasn't the gentle questioning Harry had grown accustomed to. This was a journalist doing what journalists used to do, asking the hard questions, regardless of who sat in the guest chair. Harry's jaw tightened, his hands gripping the arms of his chair. That's a very cynical way to look at it, he said, his voice dropping to that dangerous tone the royal family knew all too well. I've been through tremendous trauma. Trauma, Guthrie repeated, letting the word hang in the air. You mean the trauma of growing up in palaces? The trauma of having every door opened for you? The trauma of a family that bent over backward to accommodate your wife's demands, only to watch you both burn it all down when you didn't get everything you wanted? Harry's face reddened, that famous temper starting to show. You don't know what you're talking about. The way my family treated Meghan. Let's talk about Meghan, Guthrie said. Suddenly, the studio seemed 10 degrees colder. That's really what this is about, isn't it? You met a woman who convinced you that your family, your country, and your entire life up to that point were somehow inadequate. Instead of standing up to her, you chose to throw away centuries of duty and service to chase Hollywood dreams. The accusation hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Harry was completely still, eyes fixed on Guthrie with an intensity that would have made lesser interviewers back down. But Savannah Guthrie wasn't less or anything. My wife, Harry said slowly, his voice barely controlled, has been subjected to racist attacks, media harassment, and institutional neglect that would have broken most people. The fact that you're sitting here minimizing that, Guthrie shot back. I'm not minimizing anything, he interrupted. I'm asking why your response to alleged mistreatment was to sign multi-million-dollar deals to publicly humiliate the people who supposedly wronged you. If the royal family is as terrible as you claim, why not leave quietly? Why the public crucifixion? Why the constant interviews, the documentaries, the tell-all books? Harry was silent for a long moment, his breathing audible through the microphone. When he finally spoke, his voice was ice cold, because they need to be held accountable. Accountable to who? Guthrie pressed. To you, to Meghan, or to the millions of people who bought your books, watched your Netflix series, and made you richer than you ever imagined? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've found a way to monetize your family drama. Now you're trapped in a cycle where you have to keep feeding the beast. The mask was slipping. Harry's carefully crafted public persona, the wounded son, the protective husband, the modern royal fighting ancient prejudices, was cracking under Guthrie's relentless assault. His media training warred with his natural arrogance. And the arrogance was winning. You're twisting everything, he said, voice rising slightly. You're making it sound like this is some kind of scheme, isn't it? Guthrie's next question cut like a knife. You complain about media intrusion, then court the same media when it serves you. You demand privacy, then share your most intimate moments for profit. You talk about protecting your family's safety, then broadcast their routines to the world. Help me understand, how does any of this make sense, unless it's all about the money? The studio crackled with tension. Across screens nationwide, viewers could feel it. This wasn't an interview anymore, it was a reckoning. And Harry was realizing, for the first time in a long while, that he wasn't in control. His hands trembled slightly as he reached for his water glass, buying precious seconds, but Guthrie offered no mercy. She smelled blood in the water. "Let me ask you something else," she continued, voice deadly calm. "When you look in the mirror, do you see a man who honored his mother's memory, or someone who used her death as emotional ammunition against your own family?" The question detonated in the studio. Harry's face went pale, then flushed crimson as the implications landed. His mouth opened and closed several times, but no words emerged. For a moment, it seemed he might storm off right then and there, but pride, that fatal royal pride, kept him seated. "How dare you?" he whispered, voice trembling with rage. "How dare you bring my mother into this?" Guthrie didn't flinch. She leaned slightly forward, sensing she'd found the nerve that could unravel everything. "You brought her into this, Harry. Every interview, every book chapter, every Netflix episode. My mother would be heartbroken. She would understand. My mother died because of the institution and you've weaponized Diana's memory more than any tabloid ever did." "That's not," Harry started, but his voice cracked. Years of perfected composure were disintegrating in real time. "Isn't it?" Guthrie pressed. "Your mother spent her final years seeking peace, building bridges, trying to heal. And what have you done? You've torn open every wound, salted the earth, and claimed you did it in her honor. That's not grief, Harry, that's exploitation." The prince was now on his feet, though he barely realized it, his fists clenched, body rigid with fury. "You don't know anything about my mother," he snarled. "You don't know what she went through, what she would think of how I've been treated. I know she wouldn't recognize the man you've made me out to be." Guthrie countered without missing a beat. "The Diana I covered as a journalist believed in quiet dignity, service above self, and protecting her children from the very circus you've invited into your life. She fought media exploitation, you now profit from it. She would be horrified by what you've done to William, to your father, to the institution she worked to humanize." Harry paced like a caged animal, desperate for escape, but there was nowhere to run. Millions were watching. Cameras were rolling. He was trapped by his own arrogance and Guthrie's surgical precision. "She would understand," he insisted, voice breaking. "She would understand that I had to protect my family." "Protect them from what?" Guthrie's words cut like steel. "From the same family that protected you after she died. From the institution that gave you purpose and meaning. From the country that mourned with you, supported you through everything. You didn't protect your family. Harry, you sold them out for 30 pieces of silver in a Netflix contract." The biblical reference landed like a physical blow. Harry froze mid-step, his face twisting with rage and something that might have been shame. "You have no right," he said, voice low and dangerous. "No right to sit there and judge me." "I'm not judging you," Guthrie replied, calm but unflinching. "I'm asking the questions millions of people are thinking but are too polite to ask. If your cause is so righteous, if your grievances are so legitimate, why are you getting so angry? Why can't you answer simple questions about your motivations without falling apart?" Harry spun to face her fully, eyes blazing. "Because you're not asking questions. You're making accusations. You're attacking me just like they all do." "There it is," Guthrie said, a hint of satisfaction in her voice. "The victim card. Every time someone challenges you, every time someone refuses to enable your narrative, suddenly you're under attack. It's not an attack, Harry, it's accountability. It's what adults face when their choices hurt others." "I'm not playing the victim," Harry shouted, irony entirely lost on him. "I'm defending myself against what? Questions, scrutiny, the same level of examination every other public figure faces. You want fame, you want millions, but you don't want to be challenged on the story you sell. You want all the perks, none of the responsibility." The studio buzzed with electricity. Cameras pivoted, capturing every flinch, every rise of his voice. This was the kind of television careers were built on, the kind that would replay for years. Harry ran his hands through his hair, a fleeting glimpse of vulnerability. When he looked up, it was gone, replaced by hardness, calculation. "You know what?" he said, voice colder, sharper. "I see it now. This is a hit job. You brought me here under false pretenses, pretending this would be a fair interview, and instead, you ambushed me with character assassination." Guthrie raised her eyebrows. "A hit job? Harry, every question I've asked comes from your own public statements and actions. If examining your own words is a hit job, what does that say about those words?" "You're twisting everything," he snapped. "All pretense of royal composure abandoned. You're making it sound like I've made a fortune attacking my family because that's what you claim I've done. Like I've used my mother's death to justify betrayal. Because that's exactly what you've done," Guthrie said. "Steady. I'm not twisting anything. Your actions speak louder than any carefully crafted explanation." Harry trembled with rage, chest heaving. "This is exactly what they did to my mother," he said, voice thick with emotion. "This is exactly how they destroyed her." "No," Guthrie cut in firmly. "This is what you've been doing to everyone else. Your mother was hunted by paparazzi who wanted to exploit her pain. I'm asking legitimate questions about your public actions. The fact that you can't tell the difference is the most telling thing about this entire conversation." Harry stared, mouth agape, struck by the truth of her words. Admitting it would mean admitting everything, that he'd become what he claimed to despise, that he'd betrayed what his mother stood for, that he'd traded his birthright for Hollywood gold. That's completely different. Completely, he stammered. Is it? Guthrie's voice softened slightly, making her words even more devastating. From where I sit, you've spent the last 4 years doing exactly what those paparazzi did, hunting your family, exploiting private moments, selling their pain. The only difference is you had insider access. A heavy silence fell. Harry froze, mid-step, his worldview crumbling. For a fleeting moment, his face betrayed genuine reflection, horror at what he'd become. Then the walls went up harder, taller, colder. I'm done, he said flatly, voice sharp and final. I'm done with this ambush. I'm done with your accusations. I'm done pretending this passes for journalism. Harry, Guthrie said, her voice sharp, carrying a warning. We still have 15 minutes left in the segment. Your team agreed to a full 30-minute interview. My team didn't agree to a character assassination, Harry snapped, striding toward his chair to grab his jacket. This isn't journalism. This is a tabloid hit piece, dressed up as serious news. Guthrie remained calm, her composure only fueling his fury. So when you can't answer the questions, you attack the questioner. When you can't defend your actions, you discredit the forum. Very revealing, Harry. Revealing. Harry laughed, a harsh, bitter sound that echoed around the studio. You want to know what's revealing? What's revealing is that this is supposed to be a respected news program, and instead, you've turned it into a gossip show. You've proven my point better than I ever could. Have I? Guthrie's voice hardened, steel threading every word. Because what I've proven is that when faced with legitimate scrutiny, you crumble. When someone refuses to coddle, you invalidate your victim narrative, you run. Just like you ran from your family. Just like you ran from your country. Just like you run from every difficult situation that demands real accountability. Harry froze, jacket half on, face twisting with rage. Don't you dare. What? Guthrie interrupted, unflinching. Tell the truth? That's what this meltdown is about, isn't it? Someone finally telling you the truth to your face instead of feeding you the comfortable lies you've been living on. The prince trembled now, whether from anger or something deeper, it was impossible to tell. When he spoke, his voice was raw, barely controlled. The truth. You want the truth? The truth is that my family destroyed my mother, and when I tried to protect my wife from the same fate, they tried to destroy her too. The truth is I've spent my life being used as a prop for an institution that doesn't care about the human cost of their precious traditions. And the truth is, Guthrie shot back without hesitation, instead of working within that system to create change. Like your mother tried, like your brother is trying, you decided to burn it all down for personal gain. You didn't protect anyone, Harry. You exploited them, including yourself. The final accusation hit like a thunderbolt. Harry went completely still, emotions flickering across his face faster than they could be redrawn. Shame, denial, fury before settling into something cold and hard. You know what? He said, voice dangerously quiet. You're right about one thing. I am done being used. I'm done being a prop, and I am sure as hell done sitting here, being lectured by someone who's never faced a fraction of what I've been through. He shrugged into his jacket with sharp, angry movements. Congratulations, Savannah. You got your viral moment. Your clickbait headlines. I hope the ratings are worth whatever's left of your journalistic integrity. Harry, wait, Guthrie started, but he was already striding toward the studio exit, his security team scrambling to keep up. This interview is over, he called back over his shoulder, not bothering to look back. And so is any pretense that this network does actual journalism. The heavy studio door slammed behind him with a resounding bang that echoed through the suddenly silent room. Guthrie remained perfectly still for a moment, then slowly turned back to face the camera, expression unreadable, while she said finally, voice measured, controlled, I think that speaks for itself. She paused, gathering herself with the ease of a seasoned broadcaster who'd seen it all. When she continued, there was a subtle undertone of satisfaction in her professionalism. Prince Harry was scheduled to discuss his charitable initiatives and thoughts on family reconciliation. Instead, as you've just witnessed, he stormed out when faced with questions about the contradictions between his public statements and his actions over the past 4 years. She looked directly into the camera, gaze unwavering. As journalists, our job isn't to provide comfortable platforms for public figures to promote their latest projects. Our job is to ask the hard questions, hold the powerful accountable, and seek the truth even when it's uncomfortable. The studio remained deathly quiet, except for the hum of cameras and the distant roar of Harry's motorcade pulling away. That's our show for tonight, Guthrie concluded, professionalism intact despite the chaos. Thank you for watching what may have been one of the most revealing interviews of the year, not for what was said, but for what it exposed. But not because of what had been said, because of what couldn't be answered. As the credits rolled, social media erupted. Within minutes, clips of Harry's meltdown were trending across the globe. The words, "How dare you bring my mother into this?" became an instant meme. Think pieces on royal privilege, media accountability, and the consequences of celebrity outrage began appearing before the show had even finished airing. Back in the NBC studios, Savannah Guthrie calmly gathered her notes, stood, and walked toward her dressing room. She had done her job, asked the hard questions, refused to be intimidated by title or tantrum, and let the audience witness exactly who Prince Harry was when the cameras were rolling, and he couldn't control the narrative. The empty chair behind her told its own story. A man who could dish it out but couldn't take it, who could exploit his family for profit but couldn't handle being asked to explain himself. Harry had received exactly what he deserved, a masterclass in real journalism from someone unwilling to play his game. The interview was over, but its impact was only just beginning.